Wednesday. Welcome to the live stream. This is the first time we're doing this on YouTube. Usually we do these type of things on the Zooms, and normally we talk a lot about business, we talk a lot about tactics, we talk a lot about strategy, and today we're going to be talking a little bit more about nutrition. We're going to be talking about getting that body healthy. We're talking about getting ripped, getting jacked, getting lean. Know what I mean? So this whole presentation was inspired by me getting out of the fitness industry. And so for the last 8 months, I've been sitting on my hands, just coming up with all these ideas and all these lists and these calculators, these algorithms, these cool little strategies to not only help myself stick to and maintain and continue to grow my health, my fitness, grow my muscles, grow my confidence, but I was like, man, some of these things I'm learning would be great for the people as well. And it's funny because since I've been out of the fitness industry, I feel like more people ask me about fitness and ask about nutrition more than ever. And like, I don't have anything to give them. I don't have a program for them. I don't have anything to go buy. And so a lot of it has been just off the wall advice. And so I want to culminate everything into one spot so that this presentation that we're going to go over today is the place where I'm going to push people to have the foundation to get started, to starting to take back control of the nutrition, their health, or their bodies, or whatever the goal is, right? And so that's what this whole presentation is. And I'm going to unveil, share with the world my protein first diet. So this is the first time I've ever shared this with anybody. And man, I'm like super excited about it. And at the same time, like really nervous because I'm like, how are people going to respond to it? Well, without further ado, let's go ahead and let's dive in. And if you're watching this on the YouTubes, let me know. You can comment down below if you like this on YouTube. Let me know if you like it more like on Zoom. I feel like we have a little bit more interaction, more private. Either way, I'm just more curious. I just love testing things and seeing what works, what doesn't work, what gives value and what doesn't. So I'm going to share my screen here. Alrighty. So it looks like we are rocking and rolling. Let's see what the best way to do this is. Maybe like this. Wham, bam. Thank you, ma'am. All right, let's see our share screen. Just the window. Okay, there it is. I think we got it. I think we got it going on. So let's go ahead and let's get started. So this is the diet that led me to lose 55 pounds of fat. Ain't nobody want that fat. And add 15 pounds of muscle. Yeah, right here. Boom. If you guys follow me on the Instagrams or you guys see the let's go, give me a little arm emoji down in the comments. So who's this for? This is for entrepreneurs who want leaner bodies and want fatter bank accounts. What you will discover is a diet that is so simple that my 3-year-old can follow it. And so the first question I have for you is, what's the best way to get rich? Answer this question in your head. Like, what is the best way to get rich? Is it through business? Is it through specific types of business? Is it through real estate? Is it through stocks? Is it through being an employee? Is it being a highly paid professional, right? I want you to think about what is the best way to get rich. And really simply, it's like create a disproportionate amount of value to cost, right? That is the best way to get rich. And I looked at the top 5 richest people in the world. The number 1 guy was actually not Elon Musk. The number 1 guy was actually, I'll go back here for a second. It was a guy named Bernard Arnault. And you know what he owned? What he created? His business was luxury goods, okay? Louis Vuitton, Hennessy, Marc Jacobs, Sephora. Like, these were the companies that he created or that he owns. The second richest person in the world was Elon Musk. And Elon Musk, he got rich through doing a car company, through doing space exploration, through doing social media. Or I say owning a social media company. The third richest person in the world was a guy named Gautam Adani. Okay. He got his wealth through the energy sector, right? So he's got Adani Enterprises, Adani Power, Adani Transmissions, Adani Ports, Adani Green Energy, and Adani Total Gas. Okay. The fourth richest person in the world is Bill Gates. And most people know how he created his wealth through Microsoft. And number 5 is Jeff Bezos, right? Online retailer, Amazon. So what do all those things have in common? Is that they're all different, right? They're all different. They all just create a disproportionate amount of value to cost. That's it. And so some are in software, some are in energy, some are in social media, some are in cars, some are in space exploration. But at the end of the day, what makes them all the same is that they create so much more value than the cost of it to get as a consumer. And so let me ask you another question, like how do you get richer, right? It's actually really simple. You just make more money than you spend. Or the rate at which you make money is faster than at the point than you spend money. Or the ratio of incoming money is just higher than the money leaving you. That's how you get richer, okay? Produce more than you consume. That's it. The question is, like, how do you gain weight? It's the same. Or is it the opposite, right? So how do you gain weight? You consume more than you produce, or in this case, you exert, okay? So what are you spending? What are you exerting? And those things, we classify those things as calories, okay? So you intake calories and you burn calories. That's it, right? And so a calorie is just a unit of energy. It's just a way for us to measure what we're intaking, what we're exerting. Very similar to money. Like think about this. In what unit do we measure money in America? Yeah, we measure it in dollars, right? And so in other countries, they measure it in different currencies, but we use dollars. And so let me ask you this. What makes up a dollar bill? Right? You're like, paper. Well, technically, yes. But do we have sub categories of dollars? The answer to that would be yes, we do. We have coins. And so we have coins like pennies, and we have nickels, we have dimes, we have quarters. Okay. And we can use those coins in order to make up a dollar. And so the same way that our dollars are made up of these smaller micro coins, calories are very similar. But instead of nickels, dimes, pennies, and quarters, we have things what are called macronutrients. And there's three of them, but really there's actually 4 of them. And those are fats, carbohydrates, proteins, and alcohol. Okay. So just like we have coins to dollars, we have macronutrients to calories. So the next question I have for you is like, how do you maintain your current weight? Answer. Your consumption is equal to your spending. That's it. Really simple. So again, if you think about this in dollars and cents standpoint, like if you have ever been in a situation where you're like, I just can't get ahead, right? I feel like I'm making more money, but I still look at the end of the month and I have the same amount of money in my bank account. It's because your consumption is equal to your spending. And so the same analogy is transferred over to when it comes to weight loss. Like if you consume just as much as you spend, then you will stay the same. And lastly, how do you lose weight? You're starting to get the picture here. Answer. You do keto, intermittent fasting, or paleo, Whole30, or vegetarian, or vegan, or you do the zone diet, you do the HCG, you do Mediterranean, you do low carb, you do gluten-free, you do Weight Watchers, you do the raw food diet, right? That's how you lose weight? Well, that's what the marketing would tell you, right? So let me share a little story with you. So in 2018, I was having issues for about 4 weeks, I was having these night sweats. I was having to go to the bathroom like 3 or 4 times an hour, like literally probably going to the bathroom 20 to 30 times a day. I was having extreme dehydration, and this kept on getting worse over the course of weeks and weeks. And then one day, I woke up and I just couldn't see anything, and the blindness, it set my wife off, and she's like, "Logan, we're going to the hospital." And so she took me to the hospital. The first thing they did is they had me do a pee test, which wasn't hard for me to do. I was peeing like crazy, and test my blood sugars, and I came in at 584, and normal is about 100, to put it in perspective. And so I was like 5 times over the normal limit. And so ultimately, right away, they're like, "Okay, there's something wrong with your pancreas. We're pretty sure it's diabetes. Let's get you in." And then they basically got me on an IV drip, and they gave me insulin to get my blood sugars down. And then I was laying there in bed, and I remember the doctor coming in after probably about an hour. Me and Katie were talking about it. We were, I was feeling a lot better at the time, and we're kind of joking around, like, at that point it was like, is it, type 2 diabetes, which is something that can be adjusted based on your lifestyle, changing what you eat, changing what you do for exercise. And then type 1 is essentially where your pancreas dies and you be insulin dependent for the rest of your life. And so for some reason I was just like, I think it's just type 2. Like, I think it'll be okay. And then the doctor came in and he looked over at me, and you could just tell he had this really sad face, and his voice got really quiet like this. And he said, "Logan, I hate to break this to you, but you have type 1 diabetes." And I just felt that energy, like that pity he was presenting me, and he gave me an opportunity to take it. And I remember in that moment, I was mad. And so I came to a decision right away. Or I should say I had to come to a decision right away, because in that moment I was like, I'm either going to take this pity and accept it and make diabetes be something that is a crutch and something that hurts me and hinders me and something I blame for my lack of quality of life, or I could somehow figure out how to make this thing the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. I wasn't sure I was going to do it, but in that moment I made that decision. And I said, no, this is going to be amazing. I'm not going to take your pity. And I just said, this is going to be the best thing. I wasn't sure how it was going to happen. And so I left the hospital later that day, and it was on my mind all night, all day. And I just was trying to think about, how am I going to make this happen? How am I going to make this happen? And so out of desperation, I reached out to this guy named Dr. Kashi, who I had met through a gym mentorship that I was part of. And I told him the situation, and he's like, get on a Zoom call with me. So I got on a Zoom call with him. And by the end of that Zoom call, I had made the decision to sign up with him and spend lots of money, and really just made a commitment to myself that this was going to be the best thing that's ever happened to me. And I was going to beat diabetes. I was going to not let it win over me, and I was going to take back control of my life. And I asked Dr. Kashi to help me. And so Dr. Kashi, like, I reached out to the right person. Like, there is not a better person I could have reached out to. Dr. Kashi is a PhD in biochemistry. Got this at 23 years old. He is literally a genius, super smart guy. He's a strongman world record holder, which really helped because I love fitness. I love to lift weights, and he was somebody I could really resonate with on that realm. He was an Olympic coach, and honestly, I believe he's one of the smartest people on the planet. And the thing I didn't put on here is that I also believe he's one of the best humans on the planet. Just a big heart. He's got a big brain, but even a bigger heart. And so he helped me start this process of overcoming diabetes. That was my number one goal. Is I was a 10 out of 10 diabetic, and I was like, how do I become not a diabetic? And this is how it started. This was my very first project my very first project picture that he took, or that I took of myself, that he was part of his system. And I was over 230 pounds at this point. And this was like it was like one of those very humbling moments in my life where I look back at it now and I was like, man, look, and you were fat, brother. I did not realize how fat I was. I actually thought I was in shape back then, even still. But over the course of the next couple of years, I worked with Dr. Kashi, and my life completely changed. And one of the greatest lessons that he gave me was that, Logan, it's not about being diabetic or not diabetic. It's just, how diabetic are you? And that concept really helped me change my thought process of just always thinking of things as black and white, or 0 to 1, or binary, and just understanding everything is on a continuum. And so at that moment, I was probably a 10 out of 10 diabetic. And now I can sit here very confidently and say, I'm probably a 2 out of 10 diabetic. Out of all the work that I've done and I've created, like, I have taken control, and that makes me sleep really, really well at night. And as an added bonus, I lost over 50 pounds, and I'm a lot leaner now. And now as I look at this picture now, I'm like, I'm proud. And I'm not proud of the physique as much as I am just about the journey and about that decision. Like, that was such a big decision of, I'm going to make this the best thing that's ever happened to me. And it truly has been. And I've used it in so many instances to not only grow myself physically, but it also has helped my marriage. It's also helped my bank account. It's helped my wealth. It's helped my confidence in things far, 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 far beyond the scope of just having abs and being stronger. So back to diets. So we talked about keto, we talked about intermittent fasting and paleo and Whole30 and being a vegetarian or vegan, talking about Mediterranean, low carb, gluten-free, Weight Watchers, raw food, zone diet, HCG. And so out of the last couple of years, like, I've been on most of these on some degree, right? And the reality is that they all can work. But the truth is, as we can look around and see data, and you probably even have experience yourself, that they're not sustainable. And so I was like, man, how can we create something that not only works, but is sustainable, and something that people can actually get excited about and just do? And so that's where this idea of protein first came to be. And it really started with my family. As my family started to see what I was doing, and I wanted to really help them out, they're like, Logan, like, what do you like? Obviously they saw what I was doing, but I was like, how can I simplify this whole process so my now 13-year-old, my 3-year-old could follow what I was doing as a way to build foundation, to build structure around a nutrition plan that didn't involve crazy things like eliminating certain food groups or counting calories or any sort of that stuff out there. Like, how could my kids do it? And that's where this idea of protein first came from. And it's really simple. It's eat your protein first and then whatever you want, right? And so if you think about this from a standpoint of, well, does this protein first work for keto? Yes, it does. Does protein first work for intermittent fasting? Yes, it does. Does protein first work for paleo? Yes, it does. Does protein first work for Whole30? Yes. Does protein first work for vegetarians and vegans? Yes, it does. Does protein first work for Mediterranean? You're starting to feel the tempo here? It sure does. Does protein first work for low carb? It sure does. Does it work for gluten-free? It sure does, right? Does it work for Weight Watchers? It does. Does it work for the raw food diet? It does. Does it work for the zone diet? Oh my gosh, it does. Does it work for HCG? Kind of. But drugs are not something that I recommend. So if you don't know what HCG is, it's human chorionic gonadotropin gonadotropin, it's literally like speed. You got to get prescribed to even get on this. So I'm going to say no on this one, actually. So the only one it doesn't work for is HCG, because I just don't recommend doing that anyway. So it works for all of these quote unquote diets. But then the question is like, well, what the hell is a protein? And so me and my wife actually came to this conclusion that my definition of a protein was different than her definition of protein, which was much different than our definition of a protein for our 13-year-old was. And so I was like, Katie, a protein bar is not a protein source, right? She's like, Logan, it says it's a protein bar. I'm like, Katie, it's not a protein. And so this is where the idea of what the hell a protein, it came to reality. And this is where I created a protein list. And so back to one of the greatest lessons I learned from Dr. Kashi is that it's not whether something is a protein or not, but rather how much protein is it? And so when we're able to speak the same language, we're able to identify terms, we can clearly figure out, we can clearly state what an actual protein is. And so that's where this protein list came to be. And so this protein list is really cool. There's actually 5 tiers of proteins based on how much protein is in there. And if you want this protein list, if you go to everythinggoesmyway.com/protein, you can get this protein list. Plus there's a bonus on there, which I'll share with you here in a little bit. This protein list is, it's so good because it allows you to come to terms on what is a protein. And then I'll even share with you, if you wanted to go advanced, like different levels, different tiers of protein. So, question. What do you call a protein bar, a glass of milk, and a jar of peanut butter sitting on a counter? You call them protenders because they ain't proteins. And so my definition of a protein is that it's majority protein, right? And so if we go back to our macronutrients, which is what we make up, which what makes up our calories, we have 3 main macronutrients. Okay, we have protein, we have fats, and we have carbs. And so if something is a protein, it should have more protein in it than carbs and fats, correct? That's my definition. And so what I did is I created this formula. So even though I gave you that protein list, I give you the all the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, tier 5 proteins that are out there in the world, okay, that you can get at the grocery stores. They all have links on this. You can literally click on it and you can go and you can buy it online. How cool is that? But not everything is on there. And so I'm going to share with you how to turn a food into a number. Okay, so you can see here that a protein bar is actually 41% protein. A fat-free milk is actually 38% protein, and peanut butter is 24% protein. So this is actually how you turn food into numbers. Now, this formula is really simple, but it's important that you do it a couple times so you actually understand how it works. So what I want you to do is I actually want to go ahead and take your phone, or if you have a calculator next to you, take it out of your pocket. I want you to go ahead and practice this formula, because actually this is what this is all about, is about practice. And so the formula is really simple. You take the amount of protein in a certain food, divide it by protein plus fat plus carbs, and then you multiply that by 100 and you equal the protein percentage. So if we were to take almonds, for an example, which is one of our protenders, it has 6 grams of protein in it, okay? It has 5 grams of carbs in it, and it has 16 grams of fat in it. So when we add 6 plus 16 plus 5, we come up with, why am I blanking what that number is? 27. And so we take 6 divided by 27, and then we multiply that by 100, and it comes out to be 22% protein. So now we can look at almonds, and when somebody tells you, hey, almonds are protein, you can say, well, you're right. It's about 22% protein. Okay. Now, I'll show you this because this is something that I have on my protein list. Like I literally click on this and it'll take you to the link. So this is straight from my protein list. Again, you go on to Safeway, you can look at ingredients, and this is actually where this number is pulled from. So the back of the ingredients, I took it off a single serving. So we have our total fat, which is 16. We have our total carbohydrates, which is 5. And we have our protein, which is 6. That's it. Really, really simple. Okay. Now, here's what's really cool. We could literally do that all day long. And this is actually a really fun game. This is something I did with my stepdad. I was like, hey, go grab something in your pantry. And so he would grab some chips. And he would grab, let's say, Doritos chips, right? Actually, I think they were Fritos chips. So let's just type in Fritos chips. So again, you can do this online, or you can go in your pantry. It's even more fun to see what you have in your house. And you can just click on this. Let's see if it pops up here. So Walmart. And we can play a little game here. We can see how much protein, we can see what level of protein is Fritos, okay? And so we can all do this together. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add up our fats, protein, and carbs, because we need that number first. So we have 10 grams of fat. We have 16 grams of carbs, so that's 26. And we have 2 grams of protein, so it's 28 total. So now our fat plus carbohydrates plus protein is 28 grams because we added 10 plus 16 plus 2 to equal 28 total grams. And now we take our protein, 2 divided by that 28, 2 divided by 28, and we multiply that by 100. And we see that Fritos is 7% protein, okay? So going back to our presentation here. It's not whether something is a protein or not a protein. It's how much protein is it. So let me ask you this. What do you think is better? Something that is 90% protein or something that is 7% protein or something that's 22% protein when you're looking to do protein first? Okay. And so how to actually use protein first? There's actually 2 ways how you can apply protein first as a practical application. The first way, and the way that most people will do it, is it's just a shortcut. That's really what it is. And so in our family, my kids, they use it as a shortcut. And they don't follow any sort of calorie restrictions, or do they track anything, or any protein restrictions, or do they track any protein? It becomes really simple. It's just you eat a protein first with every single meal, and then you eat whatever you want after that. That is it. Like, if you just do that, you build a very strong foundation. Okay. So that's it. When you're out to eat, or you're on vacation, or you're on the road, it's like, what do I eat? Follow this one rule. Eat your protein first. That's it. And so when you go into the grocery store and you're like, man, Logan, I have no idea what I should be eating, right? So then you can go and you can pull out your handy dandy protein list, okay? Where's my protein list at? Protein list here real quick. You can pull out your protein list right here and you can see, oh my gosh, okay, so I'm walking to the grocery store. Are they gonna have chicken breast in the grocery store? Well, unless you want to cook it right in the grocery store, so it's probably not gonna work. What about egg whites? Same thing. Unless you want to put in the microwave, ain't gonna work. Shrimp, we're in the same boat. Canned tuna, I could actually eat that in the grocery store, right? As long as they have it. Canned crab, depending on where you're at, they might have that, might not. Halibut, crab legs, lobster tail, cod fillet, tilapia, tuna. A lot of these things are not going to have just readily available. Now, if you want to go to a grocery store, you can get all these things without having to cook a lot of this stuff. But this just gives you an idea of, you're in the grocery store, what about this? Beef jerky. That's something I can eat, right? That's a tier 1 protein, right? And you just keep going on the list. So like I start with the highest. Like, can I get a tier 1 protein? Boom. If I can, awesome. If I can, I go down to tier 2. Well, are they going to have sliced turkey breast? There's probably a good chance they will, or chicken breast. And then again, like some of these things they will have in the grocery store, like a Fairlife protein shake. That's a great choice. That's a great thing that you can actually get, or you can pack along with you. Let's keep scrolling down here. So again, like some of these things, if we're at a grocery store, for example, are going to be reasonable. Some of these things are not going to be. Here's a Premier protein shake. Okay. So we keep scrolling down here. Now we're here down to tier 4 protein. So again, if you see here, I have these broken down into different tiers. So tier 1 is just 90% plus protein. So if we take chicken breast, for example, so let's go ahead and let's do this. So again, you click on it. Oh, there is no thing on this one. This is not a good one. Let's go egg whites. Okay, so for egg whites, let's look on the ingredients here. This one's going to be really easy. So how much fat is in egg whites? 0 grams. How much carbohydrate is in egg whites? 0 grams. How much protein? 5. So this one is 100% protein. One of the best protein sources is egg whites. Okay, so we know that this is a great protein source. Let's give one that's maybe a little bit. Let's look at canned tuna here. Let's find another tier 1 protein here. So let's see here. Okay. Oh, this one is another 100% protein. So total fat, almost it's 0.5, right? So this one would be 0.5 grams. Let's just round up to 1 just to make it simple. We'll round up. That's what we were taught in 5th grade, is anything that's 0.5 or up, we round up. So we have 1 gram here of fat. We have no grams of carbohydrates, and we have 23 grams of protein. So let's call this 24 total grams. So we go back to our formula, which again, it's just protein, 23 divided by the total of fat, protein, and carbs, which is in this case 24. So 23 divided by 24, multiply that by 100, and we can see that this is 96% protein. Okay, so pretty good. Now let's go back to our protein list again. And let's say that we go to the grocery store and, oh, we have original beef jerky. So beef jerky is something that's at every gas station. Okay, and let's look at what this is here. So beef jerky, it is 1 gram of fat, 6 grams of carbohydrates, and 11 grams of protein. So let's do this again. So we have total fat, we have 1 gram. So 1 plus 6, 1 gram of fat plus 6 grams of carbohydrates is 7, plus 11 grams of protein is 18 grams. Okay, so we take that 11 grams of protein, divided by the total, which is 18, and we multiply that by 100, and we come to find out that beef jerky is 61% protein. Okay, so it's more protein than not protein, which in my eyes, that's a tier 4 protein. That is good. That's a protein source. Okay. And so this protein list, again, it becomes really, really cool. It becomes a great little hack. And again, it teaches you and it allows you to double check your work. So you actually can go to the grocery store and you actually can check certain foods and see how much protein is in certain foods. Okay. And here's a cool thing that's also on this protein list for everyone out there who's maybe a vegetarian or vegan, or you're thinking about it. Like there's actually the vegetarian options on here as well, right? So one of the hardest things to get when you are a vegan / vegetarian is protein. And so there is 4 options on here that allow you, that are actually protein sources, that are real protein sources, not those pretenders, that you can actually get that are more protein than not. And so it's funny because even when I made this list, I was Googling, because I'm not a vegetarian, I'm not a vegan, but I was Googling like, what are the best protein sources? We can just do this together. What are the best protein sources for vegetarians? I should just go vegans, because vegans is harder. You guys know the difference between vegetarian and vegan? Well, you better ask a vegan, because all their stuff's a little bit different as well. But vegetarians they don't eat meat with the exception of like fish. I guess they call themselves pescatarians, or eggs or dairy, but vegans, they don't eat any animal products whatsoever. So if you do vegans, it's the ultimate hardest one to do, because obviously most protein has some sort of animal source as the culprit of it. But if you look here, they give you 18 best protein sources for vegans and vegetarians. Okay. And so this is where I found the seitan, I think that's what it's called. So there's beef and chicken, seitan, you have tofu, but even something like that's it, like lentils, beans. And so it's funny because they, like, most types of beans contain about 15 grams of protein per cooked, right? They're an excellent source of all these other things, but let's actually look at beans, right? Let's look at beans here and let's see, is it really a protein? And then we can do all the sorts of beans. Let's go baked beans. Let's look at baked beans here, or not baked beans, let's do black beans. It's probably gonna be the best. So we're looking at black beans here, and we can click on this, and we can figure out real quickly, is this a protein source, or how much of a protein really is this, right? Is it really a protein, or is it something else? So let's do the math on this. So we have our total fat. So in baked beans, there's actually no fat in it. Next thing we look at is carbohydrates. There's 20 grams of carbs, and then protein, there's 7. So we add up 20 plus 7 is 27. That's our total between fats, carbs, and proteins. And we take our protein, 7, divide that by the 27, multiply that by 100, and this is 26% protein. So this list says that beans are a great source of protein if you're a vegetarian. And I'll ask you, is 26% protein, is that a protein? Or is it a good source of protein? Right? And if you're smart and you're educated, rather than using your emotions, you can actually use data and use logic, and you can say, Logan, that's a pro-tender, right? So I call them pro-tenders. And so here's some notable pro-tenders that people believe are proteins that are less than 50% protein, including protein bars, by the way. And so marketing is very, very powerful. And so some of these things that are considered, that people have just assumed and they call proteins, again, they are what they are, right? I just call them 22% protein. I just call them 17% protein. And so when I'm looking at protein sources, I'm like, I ain't looking at these as protein sources, okay? Because they're more fats and carbs, depending on what they are, than they are protein. So with that being said, how to use protein first? Again, I recommend 100% using it as a shortcut. So if you're somebody who just wants a shortcut and you don't want to go on and you just want a way to eat that is common sense and you can do forever, just eat your protein first, right? So every time you eat, that includes snacking, right? So anytime you have a snack, like, eat your protein first. Every time you go to sit down and have a meal or do anything, just eat your protein first. And I promise you, if you just do that thing, your life will change. You will feel so much better. It will change your life just by doing your protein first. Now, like I said earlier, you can also use it as a foundation, right? You can use it as a foundation, and that foundation then allows you to ask the next logical questions of, okay, I want to take this to the next level. Well, how much protein should I eat if I actually want to build muscle, right? How much protein do I need to eat if I just want to maintain? How much protein do I need to eat when I'm losing weight? How much energy should I be consuming during muscle building, maintenance, or weight loss, right? And so that's where protein first can also be the foundation of, if you're ready to make big changes and you're ready to, change the way your body looks, ready to transform it, by golly, protein first is a great foundation. But it's not everything. Like, just by doing that, you're not going to look like I did in those pictures. You're not going to see significant changes just by using the protein first as a shortcut, okay? And so let me ask you this. Who thinks we should do another training? Who thinks we should do another training on the second piece of this is, well, how much protein should I actually be eating, right? Would you like to know how much protein you should be eating, whether you're trying to gain weight, maybe you're trying to build some muscle, boom. Maybe you're trying to maintain weight. Maybe you just don't want to lose any muscle. Maybe you're looking to actually lose weight, right? How much protein should you be eating? What about calories? Like, how much energy should you be bringing in if you want to lose weight? How much energy should you be bringing in if you're trying to gain weight? How much energy should you be bringing in if you're wanting to maintain weight, right? Because again, energy is just like energy equals calories. That's just our way of creating a way to measure it, just like how we measure money. Like, are you richer or poor? Well, it depends on how many dollars are coming in versus how many dollars are going out. Well, calories is the same thing. We want to measure how much energy is coming in, calories in, and how much we burn, calories out. So, curious, who wants to do another training where I actually dive deep into how much protein specifically you, based on your body weight, based on your goals, should be eating? Would that be cool? Yeah. Let me know if you're watching this. Still, well, congratulations for making it this far, but comment down below. And just as a quick reminder, if you want that protein list that I just shared with you, plus the bonus of the calculator, like I will give you the calculator, even though you don't know how to use it yet, we'll make another training on so I can show you actually how to use it, but I'll give you the calculator as a total bonus. You can play with it and see if you can figure it out. Go to everythinggoesmyway.com/protein, and you can go download that protein list. You can have it with you. It can be your little cheat sheet. Literally, it's clickable links. And it also teaches you, gives you the formula so you can do these formula on your own. And you also have the protein calculator and the body weight calculator so you can figure out where you need to be from a protein and calorie standpoint to start progressing whatever season that you're in, whether it's weight loss, whether it's maintenance, whether it's growth. So, hey, that's what I got for you guys today. Again, you can comment down below, tag me on Instagram. I'm at Logan Lee Manzanares on Instagram. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, I just appreciate you guys for being on here. Feel free to like this. Feel free to share this. If this was something you never heard before, which I promise you it is because I created it, then if you think that somebody else could benefit from this, like share this video with them. Whether that be like go ahead and sharing it from the YouTube or maybe tagging them in the comments, whatever it may be. If you think this was valuable, please let me know personally as well, or how I can make it more valuable. And again, as a total free resource, go get the protein list. But hopefully you guys got some value from this. My name is Logan Manzanares. I am out. Bye, guys.